Hi everyone on Facebook Live. Sorry I'm running a wee bit late this week. I just had to reschedule it for 2:30 because technology and everything against me. But we're here. So what the main point I want to get across here is that we should ultimately have an understanding of what our ideal client's day will look like. So this is about having an extreme understanding of your ideal client and even what their interests are, their passions are, and how they feel, and really get into having a deep dive of understanding of your ideal client so that you can attract them when you're doing your sales and marketing. Because ultimately, our sales and marketing efforts all derive from this key principle of having the full understanding of what motivates them to actually buy a product like yours or a service like yours. And what I've realized over the years of doing marketing and even some sales is that if sales are not going ahead as often as maybe you would expect, it could be a marketing problem. So if you don't do this kind of research stage up front, then that's a lot of the time, if the sales are not happening, it's actually a marketing problem because qualifying the potential buyer, but the prospect hasn't been done right. And that's why this part of understanding the client, ideal client, is so important. So if you have a think about that, what would a day look like in the life of your ideal client or customer? Like their actual diary entry. And if you think about it like that, like if you have that level of understanding of knowing what they're actually doing and thinking about all day, Mike Dillard actually said that you need to understand what's going on in their heads and in their hearts. You need to know what makes them happy, sad, mad, glad, afraid, and frustrated, and everything else. So if we understand all of that, then we can sell our products and services to them a lot easier than if we have unqualified leads coming in from casting the net of doing your marketing, almost with a random understanding, no understanding of who you're actually targeting. And I've seen a lot of startup business owners doing that, where they're quite passionate about what they're selling, and it's from their own head or their own idea, and they almost want to push that upon everyone around them and then expect people to come and buy it and be as excited as they are. And then the passion starts to die because no one's buying, because they've not taken this step of understanding their buyer persona. And that's another word for this, is you've got customer avatar, ideal client, ideal customer, buyer persona. And when I used to hear things like avatar, buyer persona, and these words, it used to bore the hell out of me, to be honest. And even though I do marketing for clients, I find that this stage was the part that a lot of us tend to avoid. And I've even been guilty of that. But when clients come to me, I know that this is the most important stage to make sure that when I'm doing lead generation for my business partners, that if we don't get this nailed down and I don't do a deep dive and study and research into the business, then I know that I'm doing them a disservice, because when I pass over leads, they're not as qualified. So I make sure that they're qualified now, and I take these vital steps of getting to understand their industry. So what I've realized as well is there's a lot of work to do this up front. So when from a marketing and advertising perspective, each time I've done it in so many industries. So I've tried to niche down and do marketing in specific industries that I choose of my choice, that I already understand, because this does take time, but it is important. So you should not avoid it. So a couple of the key questions you would want to ask yourself and have the answers to in your business is, who's actually willing to buy the product or service that you're offering? Who's actually willing to buy the product? Who's actually willing to buy it? And then why they actually buy it. So why would they buy? And that's the deep understanding and emotion and reason, underlying reason and benefit that they would buy the product for. Not just the features that we talk about, like that it's shiny and it's new and it's got a graphics card, things like that. We're talking about the reason they want a graphics card. So the classic saying is, people don't go to B&Q for paint. They buy the paint for a beautiful home. So it's the understanding that last reason, the benefit, is so important, and understanding what reason the benefit they're buying for. So get to understand the benefit that they're actually buying the product for, and not just the features and advantages. And then the other question is, where do you find them? So once you understand these things, then you need to understand, okay, I know who my ideal client is, but I don't fully know, because I don't know where they hang out and what their interests are, what they're reading, what magazine, what blog. So if you start to understand that, and even what Facebook groups they're hanging out in, and then what stores, what cafes, where they actually physically move around to day, and making sure you're in front of them and around them, and really learning and documenting and understanding them deeply, so you can actually write their diary for them. So that's the whole point of this. And you'll see when you do, if you've ever done Facebook advertising, you can check the page out for advertising just to get an idea of what we do. If you're logged into Facebook, you should be able to visit this page, which is facebook.com/business/ads. And you can create an ad from scratch. And you'll get some options in the Facebook ads for like demographics, interests, behaviors. And demographics is like the education, employment, the household and lifestyle, that kind of information. The interest is the activities and the pages they like and follow. And behaviors is the intent and like the device usage data that Facebook have about them. So that's from cookies and the information that they track through internet history, of web browsing history. So once you have all this information, what the other very important part is, going back to the first question, is who's willing to actually buy the product. And it's actually people who have bought similar products before. So what you want to do is buy and be around existing buyers of similar products and services to what you offer, and be around them, listen to them, document that information. And like, for example, I'm planning on starting workshops. So I've been attending a lot of workshops and listening, not just to the speaker, not just to like what questions I have for the speaker, but listening to all the people around me. And that's one of the great ways of learning this information as well, is actually getting out in the field and getting around these people, the actual buyers, so the people who buy these products, not just the people who are thinking about buying it, not just the people who, for example, I'm doing workshops on business, and I need to find business owners or people who are considering starting a business. They're in my target market, but I need to know that they've bought workshops or spent money on personal development. That makes my job and persuasion to get people to buy a product much easier if I know that they're actually buyers. Because as I always hear, the money's not in the list, the money's in the buyers list. So find buyers lists of people who buy magazines and whatever niche you're in. So find their interests. If they listen to the Tim Ferriss podcast, for example, what foods they eat, whatever your business is, you need to find out who you're targeting, who's actually going to buy these things that you're selling. And then once you've got all this information, like I'm really completely summarizing the whole customer avatar, buyer persona, and ideal client understanding process here, because it's it is much deeper than this. But within 10 minutes, I've got to kind of skim over a few of these things, and you can do your job to look into this in more detail. So once you've gone through all this step and you know who, why, and where they hang out, then what you want to do is you've got information about, for example, Mary or Jim, and you know what a day looks like in them. So you could actually write out their diary and what they were feeling in that day when they were purchasing something. Because you're getting this up close and you got your finger on the pulse of this business, you really understand what they're thinking and feeling. So then now you can sell to them, and they're qualified. So they're much more likely to buy, rather than an unqualified lead, which is someone where you've just casted a net and hoped for the best. So with Mary and Jim's buyer persona in place, what you want to do is write a letter to them. So just get a bit of paper, write a letter to them to sell the product you're selling, and with the understanding now behind you, with that backup, to tell them about the product in this letter with all the understanding of their emotion and what's going through their head and what's going through the heart, the emotion as well. So once you have all that and you know their interests, you're not it's not guesswork anymore. You fully understand who you're writing to, like you're writing to a friend or your family or your spouse. So this way, marketing helps and tees up sales. And it's really what we want to do is merge the two, marketing and sales, into let's call it customer acquisition, rather than just separating the two. Marketing is really flowing into the sale. It's making the sale happen very smoothly. And there shouldn't be such a big break between like marketing department and sales department. They're very much merged, especially with the internet and the way we can create video sales letters. We can create presentations online now, and we really need to understand how we can do that persuasion work, not just one-to-one with people, but through the internet, through video, and have the understanding. This is also known as copywriting, understanding all that research and marketing that you do up front to know the exact words to use to touch the pain points, the fears, the interests, the desires, whether they need security, if it's health, if it's wealth they're after, financial freedom. You know that when you're writing that letter, whether it's going to be in text, whether it's going to be for an email, for a video that you're going to put up on YouTube, or a Facebook ad, that video that you write will be word for word based on that sales letter, and that will be touching all those points that you know about that customer, what they actually want. And that's called hot buttons. You touch all the hot buttons to make the sale progress, and focus the video or the sales letter on that. So I hope you found this video helpful about having extreme understanding of your customers, and I hope that you can put this directly into your business. I think this is an actionable step for you, is just to potentially buy a competitor's product. That's one step you could take off the back of this, and then get around your ideal clients. And another step you could take today is to join some Facebook groups that they are potentially hanging out in, and just listen to them. And some other action steps again is read reviews of competitors' websites of their clients. So read your competitors' clients' reviews and watch their video testimonials, and really listen to the words and document them down, and then put that into your sales or video sales letter. Thanks for watching.